Hello again, and welcome to Celebrating Errors in the Adult Classroom, the third in a series of short talks on topics that are central to adult education. My name is Tim Amaral. As I said in the previous video, I'm a full-time high school equivalency instructor at the Salinas Adult School in Monterey County, where I've been lucky enough to be a witness to the successes of thousands of students throughout my very long career. Each day when I show up to work, my students teach me many things that are key to a positive educational experience, and one of the most profound ideas that they have shown me is the importance of celebrating errors. If the little bird that lived in this egg did not take the risk of leaving its very comfortable space, it would have no chance to grow or to move on to the next level of development. And yet, anytime we leave our comfort zone, there is always a chance that something will go wrong. There's no guarantee from the universe that we will be perfectly correct or rewarded just because we're willing to ask, willing to risk, willing to put ourselves out. Each time a student raises a hand to ask a question, each time I have a student complete a challenging assignment, I am aware of the level of risk that they believe, either consciously or subconsciously, they are taking. That willingness to raise a hand shows that there is a certain amount of trust that they have in me, in their peers, and in themselves. In many circumstances, this is much more important than the accuracy of their ideas or the clarity of their questions, because we hold true to the social contract of safety in the room. These students eventually come to learn that the daily risk is survivable. And ultimately, they go on to build enough confidence to risk growth in different settings, things outside my classroom. So I want to make a concerted effort to celebrate the risk-taking, the trust, and the bravery that they show each time they raise their hands. In our class, we regularly say, "That's a fantastic mistake. I like your way of thinking. This is going to help other people because you took a chance on that. Thank you so much." And the groundswell of support around that risk taking is actually really critical. My folks will survey the room and see other people stepping up and supporting them in that vulnerable moment. So this approach allows us to feel welcome. It makes us understand that an error is nothing to fear now, unlike the old days when people would shame us if we did make a mistake. And this brings me to the idea of perfectionism, something that pops up quite often in adult ed with our students that get quite paralyzed by it. I'd like to say that perfectionism is just shame and fear written in stone with really nice penmanship. And that shame that we often picked up as children in school makes us shut down. And being shut down is an incredibly painful place to be. It's paralyzing, isolating, frozen in time. In other words, the mind is stuck in the past, and we are unable to access creativity. So a whole bunch of solutions are out of the question. The curious thing is that I'm often thinking that I have to follow my shame and fear out and away from myself through distraction or avoidance. Like, if I can only get this thing that's over here to distract me and make me feel better, I'll get some relief, and then I'm going to be okay. I won't have to deal with the shame and the fear anymore. But the reality is that shame and fear are hallways into myself, to where my deepest needs are. So shame and fear are normal, but they should be hallways, not rooms, not a place to stay. I want to pass through my shame. I want to pass through my fear so I can get to the place where things are good. If I follow these hallways in, I can get to the really bright, brilliant, wonderful rooms that are the mansion that is me. But I have to pass through them. I don't want to be stuck in them. I don't want them to be the barrier to get in that keeps me from getting into the parts of me where I am the most alive, the most ready to come to life. And not only that, but as I pass through them, I can also welcome other people into the mansion that is me. So when I'm working with my students, we address shame and fear really, really directly, both in myself and in them. We don't avoid it. We pass through it, and we ask, What is the need that's underneath all of this? So when a mistake brings shame, a person is less likely to take the risk the next time around. The safe place that we construct in the classroom allows us to open up and let life in and to let ourselves out to meet it. The safe place that says others can be, the safe place says that others can be trusted while we grow, while we cross through some uncomfortable transition out of our own comfort zones and into a brighter life. With the population I serve, it's important to point out that this concept even pertains to our lives and our behaviors beyond an academic setting. Our behaviors may be mistakes, but if we open up to the need that we were trying to meet, often hidden beneath that behavior, we can find a different technique, a healthier one that meets the need in a good way, that shows our worth, our self-worth in the process. But if I shame people because of their behavior, if I strip them of worth, they will become fearful and all growth stops. If I can instead see an error as a place where deeper learning can occur, 1,000 more possibilities for my life then become available. The Japanese call this idea wabi-sabi, the acceptance of impermanence and imperfection. The Germans call it Zerrissenheit, torn to pieces hood. The French sculptor, Auguste Rodin, said that the art that captures only the perfect and beautiful is a fraud. This is the man who sculpted The Thinker and The Kiss, two unbelievably beautiful sculptures as part of a larger work called The Gates of Hell that showed that beauty and brokenness belong together. In adult education, that's an important idea for teachers to take in for themselves and for others. And fundamentally, to be able to live with our own errors, to celebrate them sometimes, is to admit our own humanity, our own imperfection and beauty. And it's in this humbleness where we become our most trustworthy advocates, role models, if you will, about perseverance and risk and recovery for a student population who is often trying to rebuild and repair and do some academic healing. The real truth is that we're all a little bit hurt, even a little bit broken in places. And the more we look at it directly, the clearer our thinking and by extension, our feelings will be. This runs completely counter to the narrative we often hear that says we have to be stronger than the hard times. We have to overcome our obstacles. We have to defeat our opponents, and we have to be really happy, successful, and witty while doing it. In other words, we can't make mistakes. We have to be perfect. And if we do make mistakes, we have little value to those around us who are clearly perfect and matters tatters while doing so. But the real truth is this: we make mistakes. We are secretly sad. And that's beautiful because it means we care. So thank goodness we are sad underneath, because it means our hearts are still working. So with that, I will advocate letting ourselves fall apart a little, make some mistakes. In the end, the ability to celebrate the error is important because it reveals the true superpower that adult ed is all about. And our greatest superpower is this: our ability to ask for help again and again. Thank you.